flexible materials and rigid materials, and it's a big change, and it's that you need to really get hold of if you're designing with straw and natural materials, is the flexibility, which actually gives you the possibility to create houses that will last 400 years or more, as our old housing stock does, whereas the modern houses will only last maybe 5 years longer than your mortgage. The design standard is very low today for modern housing estates. Houses that were built in the 70s are now being pulled down. These houses will last a long time. So the oldest houses were built in June. So let's think about, why is this not such a great bale? One thing that is good about it is it's dry. So that's tremendously important, that the straw is dry. It comes off the field dry. It's stored in the farmer's barn and it doesn't get dripped on from above, and there's no smell of mould anywhere. So you use your senses a lot. If you walk into a barn and it smells mouldy, walk out again and go and see somebody else. So that's the most important thing, is that the bale is dry. The second important thing is that it's as dense as possible. So that's why I know this isn't great for building with, because it's not very heavy. So how heavy it is an indication of its density. And you want it to have a density, if we go just to building physics a moment, of between 100 and 150 kilograms per cubic metre. That's the sort of density we want, which is what you get in the prefabricated panels, they're made that dense in the factory. So we make them that dense by choosing them already from the farmer, so they feel quite heavy. So a construction grade bale, I would find that quite much more difficult to lift on my own. And also another indication is how tight are the strings. So if you see what I'm doing, when I pull this string, can you see it moves the bale? That tells me that I could have packed more straw into this size. So that would have made it more dense. So that also tells me where I can find the best quality straw for building. I want to go to the people who need the straw to be as dense as possible. And those are the people who do the major contracting. They're the ones who bale everybody's straw in Yorkshire and in East Anglia, and they have big modern machinery, and they pack it in really dense, because what they're doing with some of their bales is they're selling it to other places. So they're moving it to Scotland, to Wales, sometimes to Holland. And it's in their interest to get the bale as dense as possible, because they sell by weight and they want to get as much on the truck as they possibly can. So it's not rocket science. A lot of things about building with straw, with natural materials, are actually common sense. If you just take a bit of time to think about it and put your own ingenuity into it, then you can understand why we do things the way we do and why they work. And one of the philosophies behind what all of us do is to keep things simple. So whenever somebody comes to us and says, hey, I've got this great idea to work with straw, the first thing I ask is, okay, does it work? Does it do the thing you say it'll do? If the answer's yes, then the next thing I'm asking is, do we need it? Do we need to add that to it? And usually, nowadays, the answer's no. It's just a product that somebody's trying to sell. So beware of that, beware of gadgets and over